came out to my music.
Well, because I'm into fashion, I have to ask you a very important question. You look fabulous. Who are you wearing?
Thank you. Honestly, nothing that fancy, to be honest.
Oh.
Like, these are Zara pants.
Nice.
I think this is, I don't even know where the top is. I was styled by someone professionally.
Does she not look beautiful, ladies and gentlemen?
Thank you.
I mean, talk about a gorgeous lady. Well, we are so thrilled to have you here in Manchester. As Mr. Brooker said, your first time with Monopoly events. How's it been going so far with your fans?
Yeah, it's been really great. I'm so honored and grateful for all of my fans. I love coming out here and just connecting with them and being a part of the community. It's great.
Have you spent much time in the UK? And have you had any chance to kind of soak up the culture and see anything yet?
So not really. I got in yesterday, and I kind of just slept. And then today I'm here, and I'm only here today. So quick trip.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I did see, because I was lightly stalking your Instagram and your Twitter, I did see that you were just in Baha Mar on a little vacation.
Yeah.
Do you find time to actually travel for pleasure these days? Because you're used to traveling so much on the road for work.
Yeah, I'm actually really enjoying my time right now, being able to travel, spend more time with family. I went back up to New York and bought a place, so I'm going back and forth. So just being able to have that freedom and, coming out here and being able to hang out with my fans and not be so restricted, I'm having a great time.
It's got to be very freeing to kind of be your own boss and be able to work when you want and take some time for yourself, finally, right, after a grueling schedule. Yeah. Well, guys, I mean, I am such a fan of yours. I thought from the second I saw you on Tough Enough, I was like, wow, what a star.
Aww,
but if you can tell us sort of how your journey into the crazy world of wrestling transpired. What got you into wrestling?
So my story was a little bit different than most. I was competing for bodybuilding and fitness competitions. And I was basically recruited through just an agency, I guess, for the reality show Tough Enough. So had no experience wrestling, as you guys saw me running the ropes and looking like an...
It's not easy.
It's not easy.
Yeah.
But I made my way up, and I worked hard and trained, and I actually fell in love with the business. It's an amazing accomplishment, and I just... one thing led to the next, but I was being on Total Divas right away, which was great, and then main roster, and then Monday Night Raw, SmackDown, and then back to NXT, where I think I kind of had my career catapult there, so...
Well, I have to say, I love Tough Enough. We were just talking to Al Snow about the original Tough Enough. I loved that too. But then we had the iteration with you and Chelsea Green, and I loved the new version as well. How was it like working on that as a reality show? Plus, as you said, learning the ropes literally on camera.
It was such a cool experience. I always say, because I never went away to college, Tough Enough felt like a college, I don't know, we were stuck in a barracks, but it was like a dorm life, and we didn't get out a lot, and just kind of being on a reality show that I never thought I would do, and I didn't know much about. I learned so much. I developed such a great relationship with some of the girls and guys, and it was just like the time of my life. Like, we did the craziest stuff. I was just like, I don't know, I was thriving.
Yeah, but it's grueling. Like, that's what we were saying to Al Snow. Like, people, like you just said about running the ropes, it ain't ballet, as they say, right? Like, did it surprise you how much pain and bruises and how harsh wrestling really is? Because when you look at it, I think people don't realize how much, how injury prone people can be and how dangerous it can be.
Yeah, I kind of was really just going with the flow, and I felt like during that time period, I was just, like, I don't know, I felt so tough that I could do this, but I also had no idea what I was doing. So I was so sore those days. I obviously trained really hard in the gym and all, but in this ring, it's such different training. Yeah. It doesn't matter how you look or anything like that. Like, the cardio is so different. So there was just so many things I had to learn and be adjusted to that it was just it was a process.
It is. And to do all that on camera and, learn as you go is pretty commendable.
Yeah.
So round of applause for that. This one's Tough Enough.
Thank you.
I loved those episodes so much. But also a show that I love is Total Divas. And I think you'll agree that one thing that's great about it, yes, Actually, these lovely ladies have been awesome. Round of applause for them.
Yeah.
There's some ladies here representing. I was gonna say, speaking for women, I think Total Divas got a lot of women into wrestling that otherwise wouldn't have gotten into the sport. Maybe their boyfriend watched it, maybe their husband watched it. But with Total Divas, I think it made women like wrestling for a totally different reason. That sort of reality show, housewives vibe. That's what I loved about it.
Same. And I really think it did, because me not knowing a lot about wrestling and the wrestling world, when I would come home, people, all these random people would just be like, oh, I know her from Total Divas. And I felt like I got so much recognition from Total Divas, and Tough Enough, of course. But yeah, it's like your average people that didn't watch wrestling would watch the reality show, which was cool.
I liked that it made it more mainstream.
Yes.
It kind of brought a different version of fans in to see wrestling and to see how tough it can be, and your schedule on the road, things like that.
Yep.
Well, I have to ask, you are so awesome on social media. You're so active. You pay
thanks.
so much attention to your fans. Honestly, the replies that you give them and the heartfelt, tweets and things, you make them all feel very seen. How important is it on social media to engage with your fans?
I've always been a huge believer in social media and engaging with my fans, even prior to wrestling when I started in the fitness world. And I was just always so adamant about making sure I, grow my brand, and there's life after wrestling or whatever it may be, regardless. So I just love interacting with my fans, and I think it's really important. I mean, I wouldn't be here without my fans, really.
Exactly. Well, here's a question for you. Speaking of fans, we love to ask this question because we're all fans of you, but what are you a fan of? Is there someone that you love in terms of Hollywood or wrestling? Who would you meet and be starstruck by?
That's a good question. Probably J-Lo or something.
J-Lo's a good one. Yeah.
I don't know. I just think she's so awesome, and she's beautiful, and she just gets better with age. So she'd be someone that I'd be a little starstruck. But yeah.
She's a great strong female empowerment kind of a gal for sure. Yeah.
She is.
Well, speaking of empowerment, you have an amazing podcast available wherever you listen to your podcasts. Power Alpha podcast. Tell us about that and how that came about.
Yes, we're very excited for our podcast. We're new to the podcast game, so it's been fun. Just kind of being able to control your narrative and speak how you want to speak and just go with the flow. My fiance and I started it. He's always wanted to get into something like that, so we kind of just are excited to get different fans on there. It's basically inspiring true stories. Kind of showing everyone the grind, and we all see the glitz and the glamour, especially what I post on my social media, but not everyone sees the tragedy, the triumph, all that stuff, and the sacrifice that we all have to go through. So I just want it to be relatable. I want people to be able to engage with what we've been through, what we could work on as individuals. I'm always trying to look for improvement. So it's just a great platform, and I'm really excited to see where we could take it.
For sure. And with social media and subscription sites and things like that, it's one thing to post amazing, sexy photos. I mean, hello, who wouldn't love to see Mandy in her photo shoots? Oh my God, they're beautiful. But I think also it's engaging to kind of see behind the scenes and sort of who you are and how, what goes on in your daily life. Is that something that your fans appreciate, to kind of see the personal side of you as well?
Yeah, for sure. I think between the subscription-based platforms and also just social media in general, I've seen such a great response in people wanting to be a part of it, and making them feel a part of it, and seeing the behind the scenes and not just seeing the final project or whatever it may be. So I've had a lot of great experience with that, and it's a great interaction I have.
I think if you give respect to the fans, you get a lot of respect back, for sure.
Yes.
Well, we have to talk more about wrestling, because I was recently reading that you, as a career highlight, said that the NXT Women's Championship was the highlight of your WWE career. So walk us through what that was like and what it felt like to be the champion.
So that was the highlight of my career, because I think gaining the respect from my fans, from you guys, putting in the work, I humbled myself. I didn't take that call and get negative. I just took it like this is a new opportunity for me. I mean, you guys all know, you watch, like you see opportunities for certain people and some people don't get them. And it's just, peaks and valleys and all that. So I just feel like I took that call and I was like, you know what, this could be something really amazing for me. And then rather than getting inside my own head, I was like, no, like this is gonna be great. And I just like manifested it. And I obviously didn't know why I got, sent back there, who I was gonna be with. I didn't know I'd partner with Gigi and JC. I didn't know where it was gonna go, but I just took everything with a grain of salt. I put in the work. I think I needed some extra training, to be honest, and I just had a blast. I had so much fun going back and not only improving my own career, but also like lifting the other women and men up. And it was weird for me because I was used to always looking at others for whether it was wrestling advice or whatever it was, but it was like then they were coming to me for advice. So I was like, oh, this is cool. Like, and some of them wrestled longer than me. It wasn't really just all about the wrestling. It was about so many things in general when you get to the main roster and things that you're not really taught.
Yeah.
You kind of just have to go through those motions when you're there. So I took a lot of pride in that, and I was really honored for people to take what I have to say and then, use it. And I just developed a great relationship with a lot of people down there as well.
For sure. Now talk us through how it's being in a women's locker room. You were in the NXT locker room with the women there, and then of course on the main roster. Who were you getting along with best, and what kind of differences were there between the two, main roster and NXT?
So I think we can say this across a lot of sports, and I've talked about it on my podcast because my fiance being an ex-pro athlete in the NFL, like he had his favorite times in college.
Okay.
Because, you're all kind of in it together trying to be the best, right? But the competition's different. It is a dog-eat-dog world and all that, but it's like when you're not at the major leagues yet, you develop more friendships, and I feel like, I don't know, they're more like genuine and real rather than when you're like, when you're in the big leagues, it's like, it could be really like,
pressure, right?
Pressure,
yeah.
And that person's waiting to take your spot. Yeah. So I will say I had the best time in my NXT career, even in the beginning before I went back. But Sonya Deville has always been my best friend through and through. I mean...
Don't we love Sonya Deville?
Yes,
another fashionista, love her.
She's the best. And we just hit it off from the second we met on Tough Enough, and we were just like this, traveling the world together. So she's always my number one when it comes to that. But I really developed a great relationship with the girls in NXT, JC, Gigi, Indy Hartwell, Cora Jade, Roxanne. Like, they're like my little sisters. I love them.
There's so much talent there. How many NXT fans are in the crowd, right? There's so many amazing NXT fans and NXT talent that we're looking forward to seeing more from. Well, speaking of seeing more, where is Mr. Brooker?
I'm over
there
here.
There he is.
Hello.
You're
Hello.
so sneaky. Who's got a question for Miss Mandy?
Well, from everyone in this building, there was one person in particular who lit up when you walked out in the sack. So I'd like to come to you first. Well, welcome. First of all, what's your name, my friend?
Holly.
This is Holly.
Hi, Holly.
And what's your question? What do you have to say?
If you could pick two different Toxic Attraction members, who would you pick?
Ooh, good question, Holly. I would say, gotta go with my girl Sonya Deville, because we're, used to be tag team partners, and Cora Jade. Ooh.
Good one.
How does that work for you?
They're both one of my favorites.
Oh, yay.
Nice. While we have the chance, anything you'd like to say to Mandy?
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for all the support.
Thank you. And she's repping some Mandy
I
Sacs
know.
merchandise
I
as
love
well.
it.
We love to see that.
I saw her earlier. She's
keeping
so
it
cute.
real.
Have you ever seen anyone cosplay as you before? Like,
Yes.
how is that?
I love that.
That's so cool. Yeah, and I will say that your gear, top notch.
Thank you.
Amazing. Always some of my favorites. Any questions for Mandy? Just raise your hand, everybody.
See who we've got. Oh, we have a gentleman in blue over here.
Gentleman in blue.
And I don't want to know what happened to your arm. Oh, fair play. Oh, yeah, shame on me. What's your name, sir?
Chris,
And what's your question?
the connection between you, Gigi, and JC, Toxic Attraction, who came up with the idea with that? Because obviously it dominated NXT for a long time, women's division as well. Who came up with that idea?
So it was definitely a collaboration of people. I would say, obviously, Shawn Michaels was a big part of that. It was, like I said before, when I first got there, it was not, make these girls more like you. It was more like I think I need to be a little bit edgier. So I actually took their edginess a little bit and we all kind of meshed together. But I love that we were all so different as well. And we didn't even match our gear to the T. We kept our styles. So I would say it was definitely a collaboration. I don't know specifically, who came up with the name and all that, but Shawn Michaels was a big part of it. And then, one thing led to the next, and we just dominated.
Yeah, you did. Toxic Attraction fans in the house. I know Miss Holly's a fan. There she is. Any more questions for Mandy Sacs? Don't be shy. Oh, we've got one right over here.
I'll come to you next. Okay. What's your name, sir?
It's Kiefer. I just wanted to ask, there was a point where you came in with Absolution, and for one reason or another, it seemed as though it never really took off the way it should have. What I just wanted to kind of get your thoughts on what were the plans, or was there anything that was kind of a stumbling block to that? Because I was really excited at the prospect of it, and I was just waiting for that moment where it was going to blow up, and it just never did. And I always wanted to know what was that.
Yeah, so I don't think it was anything really too specific. The injury didn't help, Paige's injury, obviously. And then, Paige was the leader of the group, so I felt like she was a big part of it. So I think without her, Sonya and I were tag team partners, and that went on for a little while. But it just, without Paige, I think it didn't really go as what they wanted, in a sense, But I don't know if there was any other specific reasons.
Any Paige fans in the house?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, we're in Paige country. I mean, technically, it's not Norwich, but it's close enough. Don't get on me about English geography, Chris Brooker, please.
Norwich is somehow 4 hours away from everywhere. I don't know how they do it.
For the love of geography.
Come on down, sir.
Hello.
There we go. What's your name, my friend?
David. My question for you, Mandy, is obviously you're having a great time at the moment, but would you like to come back into the wrestling industry again, or is it something that you're quite content on how you left things?
So the famous question that I get, I'm surprised. I thought that was going to be the first one.
I wasn't going to touch it. I was like, she'll get to it.
I always tell people, I haven't hung up the boots. There are times where I really think about it, and I'm like, I would love to come back if it was the right time, the right place. So I wouldn't say no, but right now I am enjoying my time and my freedom. And it just has to be the right time. But I don't think I'm done wrestling.
What do you think, Manchester? Do we want to see Mandy wrestle again? Well, there you have it. There you have it.
I mean, we can get a referee out right now.
Oh, good.
No,
Not to
none
me.
of that. Didn't bring my boots.
Yeah. I bruise like a peach. We're not going there, Brooker.
It's a ginger problem, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, you bruise. And by the way, this
Look at
this
this.
Looking for my
artwork here.
peach. I love it. I saw him earlier. So good.
So, what's your question, sir?
It's John. It's about Otis. What was working with Otis, and do you feel the Money in the Bank screw job of Otis not cashing it in? Your opinions?
Can you repeat that? I'm sorry.
Basically, Otis. What was it like working with Otis during a very weird time? Just tell us about Otis, basically. Is that what we want?
I like that, yeah. Otis is amazing. I had so many moments where I had to tell him that don't make me laugh, because he would just always make me laugh with the littlest things he did. So he was so much fun. I loved working with him. Wish the story played out a little bit better in the end. I think most of you can agree with that. But it was amazing, and I had a great, also COVID didn't help and all that, the time frame, but it was so much fun working with him, and he's awesome. I mean, there's not so many good things to say about him.
We love Otis. I loved the comedic aspect of it. Do you think wrestling sometimes takes itself too seriously and we could use a little more laughter?
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, gotta have
Don't you
fun.
think?
I don't know anything about comedy.
Clearly.
If I may selfishly just throw something in, because you were part of wrestling at the weirdest time that wrestling has ever happened, because the bit with Otis and Dolph, who was great here today, was all building for that WrestleMania, and then you did it in front of nobody. What was that like?
Oh man, it was so bittersweet because the storyline was so amazing. I was so excited, but that kiss in front of people, not just TV, would have been the place would have erupted and it would have been amazing. So, I mean, what are you gonna do, right? You can't do anything now, but it would have been awesome being in a live crowd with that moment.
Thanks, COVID. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, thanks, COVID. Jeez.
Kudos to WWE, though, because they were still churning out shows, and that was really cool, giving the fans what they want, what they deserve. Any final questions for Mandy Sacs? Raise your hand. Oh, and it's her first panel today. Give her a round of applause.
Oh, yay!
We love a question from a lady.
What is your name, please?
Laura, hi, I'm a massive fan of you.
Thank you.
If you go back into the ring, who would be your dream opponent?
Oh, well, I always say this, and she's here. I just saw her, actually.
Uh-oh.
Trish Stratus. She's definitely always been my dream opponent. I look up to her, obviously. We kind of had similar backgrounds getting into wrestling. She's always been super sweet to me every time I run into her, and yeah, she's just amazing. So I think that would be a hell of a match.
Isn't that the worst when she's like the most amazing female superstar, gorgeous, and she's nice? Like, how dare she? That is just unnerving, Rooker.
It makes you sick,
The
doesn't
woman,
it?
yeah, she's too perfect.
And
She
she
could
gets
be
better
an
with
arsehole, and
age.
she chooses not to. It's horrible.
I
I think
know.
we've got two more. We can get two more, I reckon, at this point.
Yes,
if
please.
you're agreeable.
We've got a gentleman right in front of you, actually.
Right there, come on
Hello.
down, sir. Talk amongst yourselves for a moment.
And by the way, Trish will be here with Lita later on today, so we'll try to find a flaw.
There we go.
Let me know.
A member of the I Hate Lana Austin Club.
Yay!
What's your name, sir?
Jack. My question, you have spoken about how you still like JCJ and Gigi Joe. And is there any, if you could pick 3 women to team up with them again for one last match, who would they be?
Ooh. I would say... It's a tough question. Cora Jade. I love Cora. He said 3 or 2. Did he want 2?
3, yeah?
3,
Three.
right? Yeah. Cora Jade, Roxanne, and Tiffany Stratton. Ooh, a little tippy time.
Good times. We have time for one final
I
question.
think
No
we do.
pressure.
We'll make it a good, no pressure. You're very
Yeah.
confident, sir.
It must
look
be
like,
very
You
good.
look like you've got a showstopper of a question here. What's your name, my friend?
Craig.
Craig, what's your question?
What was it like feuding with your real-life friend Sonya Deville on television? And if you'd had the hair versus hair match, would you have actually shaved your hair?
Ooh.
That's a good question. I didn't hear the beginning part of it, though.
What was it like to wrestle like your best friend, Sonya? And if there was, I think there's rumors of a hair versus hair match, would you have shaved your head?
That's a good question. So working with Sonya was great because we were best friends. We knew each other so well. There was no, bad will. We always took care of each other, obviously. We were with each other all the time, so we'd talk about wrestling, and on the way to shows, we'd just always talk about stuff. So that was always fun. Working with her during that whole time, it was weird again because of COVID, unfortunately. But if we did do the hair versus hair match, would I have shaved my head? I don't know. It depends. They would have had to pay me to shave my head a little more.
And if any of you on Twitter do an AI version of bald Mandy, we are not.
Oh,
well,
they're
actually,
out there already.
That would be.
They're definitely out there already. When we were
Oh,
doing
no.
that whole thing, I would see photos and I would be like, oh my God.
It's like that could be
I
your
didn't look
future.
that bad, though. Yeah.
Like you wouldn't look beautiful. Come on, Mandy
I did
Sacs.
cut the hair really short, though.
Well, yeah. That was actually a really fun question to end on. So thank you guys for your amazing questions. Thank you, Brooker. Just some final thoughts for your fans if you want to say a thank you, because we are just so proud to have you here and we're wishing you continued success. But anything you'd like to say to your fans, you have the floor.
I just want to thank every single one of you for sticking by me and also being there during the last year and a half, however long it's been now, and really supporting me. And, you know, when my whole release happened, it was really nice to know that I didn't really have to say anything and you guys were really there for me. And with like all these hashtags that they started, it was really heartwarming to know that I have fans out there like that, and I really appreciate it, and you guys mean the world to me, so thank you for coming out to see me.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, please keep the applause going for the beautiful Mandy Sacs. Man.